Let's start with Superfast 50. The controversy over the blocked BBC documentary on Prime Minister Modi rages on after Kolkata, Hyderabad and Thiruvananthapuram. The blocked BBC documentary would be screened at the Madras University. Meanwhile, the JNU students marched from the Ganga Dhaba area in the hostel inside the JNU campus in protest against the ABVP students who claimed that stones were hurled at them by ABVP students during the screening of the controversial BBC documentary on Prime Minister Modi. After Vadra Congress leader Digvijay Singh, now Rashid Alvi has questioned the government and army over the Balakot surgical strike. Rashid Alvi demanded evidence of the airstrike.
सबूत इस बात का नहीं चाहिए। सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक पे अपनी फौज पे हमें विश्वास है। हमारी फौज हमारा गरूर है, हमारा यकीन है। लेकिन बीजेपी की ये सरकार, भारत सरकार, नाकाबिले यकीन है, ये मगरूर है। इस पे भरोसा नहीं किया जा सकता।
Prime Minister Modi interacted with several students at a stadium in the national capital. 39 lakh students witnessed Pariksha Pe Charcha this year. Taking questions from students in the Kendra Vidyalaya Mandir in the national capital on how to handle the exam pressure, Prime Minister Modi appealed to all students, pressurizing students due to expectations due to social status.
अपनी क्षमता से कम भी अपने आप को नहीं आंकना चाहिए और दोनों चीजों की बल देंगे तो मुझे पक्का विश्वास है कि आप ऐसी समस्याओं को बहुत आराम से सुलझा देंगे।
After Chief Minister of Bihar, now Deputy Chief Minister TEJASWI YADAV faced anger of the locals. Prashant Kishore also took to Twitter to share a video where he said, and I quote, "Angry people lay down on the roads in front of TEJASWI YADAV's convoy because the road was not built in the area for the last 34 years." India, meanwhile, has issued a notice to Pakistan for modification of the Indus Waters Treaty of September 1960 following Islamabad's following what has happened over the last few years. The notice was sent on 25th of January through respective commissioners for Indus Waters as per officials. A day after BRS MLC Kaushik Reddy used foul language against the Telangana Governor Timisalai, BJP leader has now filed a complaint against the BRS MLC for using such abusive and derogatory words against the governor. Meanwhile, Republic has accessed a charge sheet of PRAVEEN murder case. The charge sheet mentions service squads and kill squads were used to assassinate Netharu, and NIA has also highlighted that the PFI planned, plotted and conspired to kill Netharu, further exposing the role of killer PFI squads to assassinate prominent Hindu leaders. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu Minister for Municipal Administration K. Nehru was seen hitting and pushing his own party cadres on stage when he was regulating the crowd at DMK party event at Salem district of Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu Sports Minister was being welcomed at the event when the incident took place. And in more news coming in from across the country, from the poll-bound state Karnataka, where Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai appeared to have lost his cool as he snatched a microphone from the hands of a seer seated beside him during a public event in Bengaluru to respond to criticism. During the event, the seer raised issue of flooding and poor infrastructure in the constituency. Meanwhile, massive fire broke out at a tea stall in Rajaji Nagar in Bengaluru. The tea stall was completely gutted and the fire and emergency personnel doused the flames in over 2 hours. After it was brought under control, no loss of lives was reported. In a case of rash driving that was reported from Vijayanagara district in Karnataka, 2 motorists have been injured after they lost control over the driving. The incident was caught on camera. Meanwhile, Delhi court has allowed Bollywood actress Jacqueline Fernandez, who is one of the accused in the 200 crore money laundering case involving Sukesh Chandrasekhar, to fly to Dubai. Meanwhile, the BJP central leadership has warned former Union Minister Yatnal not to speak against former Chief Minister and Lingayat strongman B.S. Yediyurappa to avoid further embarrassment in the run-up to the state assembly polls this year. In a shocking incident that has been reported from Ajmer in Rajasthan, thieves uprooted ATM machine and looted all the cash. This comes days after ATM machines were looted in Arain and Rupagranj area. The probe has revealed that robbery methods in these cases were identical. Meanwhile, the Gujarat police submitted a 1,262-page charge sheet in the Morbi Bridge collapse case and named Oreva Group Director as the prime accused in the Morbi tragedy. Meanwhile, the Gujarat police seized a drone that was seen flying and clicking pictures without permission near the stage at an event addressed by Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel. The police immediately detained the person operating the drone near the official. Meanwhile, the inaugural edition of the bilateral air exercise Veer Garjan 2023 between the Indian Air Force and Japan Air Self-Defense Force concluded in Japan on 26th of January yesterday. Meanwhile, snow avalanche hit the Padar area of Kishtwar district of Jammu and Kashmir. Due to heavy snowfall, the glacier fell into the river in the area. No loss of life was reported due to spar and search operations that were carried out with the administration trying to clean the debris. And in more news coming in the 1994 ISRO espionage case, accused MATHEW appeared before the CBI court today. He is among the 5 accused who were supposed to appear before the CBI for questioning in Thiruvananthapuram. Meanwhile, the J&K police recovered Pakistan International Airlines shaped balloon in the Jogwan area in Jammu. The recovery happened during a search operation. The police has now seized the balloon. Meanwhile, the UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath inaugurated the VIDYA SAMIKSHA KENDRA in Gandhinagar in Gujarat and distributed tablets to the students. Meanwhile, Supreme Court has agreed to hear on 3rd of February the plea of Aam Aadmi Party's mayoral candidate Shelly Oberoi. Shelly had moved the court demanding election for the mayor post election to be conducted in a time-bound manner. Meanwhile, the US Special Operation Forces have reportedly killed a senior Islamic State group official and 10 other terror operatives in remote northern Somalia. The operation was carried out on Wednesday that targeted Bilal al-Sudani, who was a key financial facilitator for the global terror organization in a mountainous terrain. Meanwhile, the Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has asked his party colleague and Parliamentary Board Chairman UPENDRA KUSHWAHA to quit the JDU. However, KUSHWAHA has hit back saying with a strongly worded response saying that he could not leave the party without his share in the paternal property. Meanwhile, the Jammu and Kashmir police conducted a multi-location midnight raids in Jammu. 2 persons were apprehended by the police in the operation. The raids were conducted in connection with the 21st January twin IED blasts in which 9 people were injured in Narwal area. Prime Minister Modi would address the annual NCC Prime Minister rally at Karyappa Parade Ground in the national capital tomorrow. This year, NCC is celebrating the 74th year of its inception. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said that Bengali is the 2nd largest spoken language in Asia and 5th in the world. The statement was made while Mamata Banerjee was presiding over an event held in the state on the occasion of Saraswati Puja. Meanwhile, despite facing severe foreign exchange shortage and being under economic crisis, the government of Pakistan has ordered massive hike of 30% in development funds amounting to 90 billion for parliamentarians, according to a report. In more news coming in from across the globe, Israel carried out airstrikes in Gaza after Palestinian militants fired 5 rockets into Israel territory. The deadly raid in the territory killed 9 Palestinians, including at least 7 militants. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden led a moment of silence at the White House in honor of the victims of shootings that killed 11 people at Southern California Ballroom Dance Hall. EU official who was in Japan to further strengthen cooperation between the European Union and Japan said that Russia has moved the war against Ukraine into a different stage, with indiscriminate attacks and developments in armed supply being a result of that change. A human rights organization announced that Peruvian government's handling of the ongoing protests. At least 57 people have died during the last 7 weeks of demonstrations that have erupted when President took office after the predecessor tried to dissolve the Congress. Australian Prime Minister, meanwhile, Anthony Albanese reiterated Australia's support for Ukraine, said that his government has provided armoured vehicles and further military support on the ground. Torrential rain and bad weather conditions led to floods in some parts of Auckland and North Island of New Zealand. Several cars were also submerged and people were seen wading through rising flood water while first responders came to the rescue. Meanwhile, outraged rebel police officers paralyzed the Port-au-Prince in Haiti in response to a wave of gruesome killings of police by Haitian gangs. The Caribbean nation has been gripped by gang wars and political chaos following the assassination of President in 2021. Meanwhile, family members of passengers who died in Boeing 737 MAX crash gave an emotional testimony calling for criminal prosecution of top Boeing officials. The families tried to convince a federal judge to throw out a settlement that the company reached with the federal government to avoid prosecution. Meanwhile, powerful Santa Ana winds raked much of Southern California, toppling trees and big rigs. Multiple trucks were reported blown over on the region's highways, and a woman was injured as towering tree fell to the ground. Hong Kong, meanwhile, has banned CBD, which has categorized it as a dangerous drug and mandating harsh penalties for its smuggling, production and possession. Anyone travelling into Hong Kong with any CBD product will now be prosecuted. In more news coming in from the world of sports, Indian tennis idol Sania Mirza bid farewell to tennis after losing the final of mixed doubles event of the Australian Open in Melbourne. Paul George scored 35 points, adding 27 at the Los Angeles Clippers extended their winning streak to a season's high 4 games with 138-100 rout of the reeling San Antonio Spurs. Meanwhile, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes practiced on Thursday ahead of Sunday's AFC Championship game against Cincinnati Bengals. The player suffered an ankle sprain in last weekend's win over Jacksonville Jaguars. Victor Hedman scored the go-ahead goal with 6:31 remaining, and Tampa Bay Lightning tied a team record with their 11th straight home victory by defeating the NHL best Boston Bruins by 3-2 on Thursday night. Meanwhile, Julius Randle had 37 points and 9 rebounds, hit the free throws that gave the New York Knicks the lead for good in 120-117 overtime victory over the Boston Celtics on Thursday night. Sam Ryder extended his lead to 3 shots in the Farmers Insurance Open win. Nando Di Colo led Aswell attack, netting 26 points as they registered their 8th win of the season by beating NRBK by 91-77 on Thursday. Benjamin Carl claimed the win at the Men's Snowboarding World Cup parallel giant slalom event in Blue Mountain, Canada on Thursday. New Zealand suffered a huge blow ahead of their ICC Women's T20 World Cup campaign after captain Sophie Devaney sustained an injury while playing in the domestic circuit. The pressure, meanwhile, has only been mounting on Ajax head coach Alfred after the Dutch champions equaled the worst run in the league in their 122-year history on Thursday when they were held to a 1-1 draw at the Johan Cruyff Arena by bottom club FC Volendam.